Hi, in the last video we looked at factoring perfect square trinomials. However, for a trinomial to be factorizable, it does not have to be a perfect square. In this video we will look at quadratic equations, which are trinomials, and see how we can factorize them. Remember, quadratic equations are not always factorizable, and we do need to be able to recognize such cases. As usual, we start with the general case. So here we have a quadratic expression. It's not really an equation as there is no equal sign here. Now, how do we factorize this? The first thing we have to do is find the product of a and c, that is, multiply a times c. Once we have that number, we then have to find the factors of that product we obtained. In other words, we have to find two numbers, let's say m and n, that multiply to give us a times c. In other words, we want two numbers that are the factors of a and c. But these two factors have to add up to give us b. If we can't find such two numbers, then the quadratic equation, the quadratic expression, cannot be factorized. So let's look at an example. Here we have a quadratic expression. So earlier I've been referring to quadratic equations, which is not quite precise. I should say quadratic expressions, as in order for this to be an equation, it needs an equal sign. So this is just an expression. Later on we'll use these in equations, and being able to factorize them will be an essential skill. So looking at the general pattern here, we see that our a is 2, our b is 7, and our c is 3. And of course ac, 2 times 3, is 6. So what we need to find are factors of 6 that add up to 7. So let's find the factors of 6. Let's start with 1 and 6. And that's it. We don't need to do any more because these add up to 7. So what we're going to do now is express this 7x as 1x plus 6x. So this is a very important step in factorizing these quadratic expressions. We're just looking to break this up into two numbers, that's all. And so all this about finding two numbers that multiply to give us 6 and add to give us 7, it's just to find two numbers that we can replace this with. So this then becomes 2x squared plus 1x, which is just x, plus 6x plus 3. And now we simply factorize by grouping. So we take out the common factor here, x, and that leaves us with 2x plus 1. And then over here we take out a common factor, which is 3, and that leaves us again with 2x plus 1. And now we can see 2x plus 1 is common, so this becomes 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. And we're done. So let's look at some more examples. Here we have x squared plus 5x minus 14. So let's break this down as we have shown. So a here is equal to 1, b is equal to 5, and c is equal to minus 14. So now we need the factors of minus 14. Actually minus 14 times 1, but that's a bit trivial. That's going to be minus 14. So what are the factors of 1 and of minus 14? So that'll be 1, of course, and minus 14. But adding that doesn't give us 5. We have 2 and minus 7. But adding this gives us minus 5. So we should at this point realize that then if we went with minus 7 and 2, 7 and minus 2, that yes, now these two factors do add up to 5. So then we rewrite this expression as x squared plus 5x plus 7x minus 2x minus 14. And now we factor by grouping. So we take out the common factor here, x, which leaves us with x plus 7. And here we take out a minus 2, which also leaves us with x plus 7. And then we see x plus 7 is common. Notice that in this particular case, since a is equal to 1, we did not have to go through this intermediate step here. Whenever a is equal to 1, once we find the two factors that add up to b, in this case 5, we can go directly to the answer. It'll be x plus this value and x plus this value. In other words, x plus a minus 2, which is x minus 2. So let's do that in this next example here. So here we have a is 1, b is equal to minus 13, and c is equal to 30. Of course, a times c is 30. So let's look for the factors of 30. Now, if we work with the positive factors of 30, we'll never get two numbers that add up to minus 13. So we have to look for the negative factors of 30. In other words, we start at negative 1 and minus 30, and then minus 2 and a minus 15. Notice this will give us plus 30, and the minus 3 and minus 10. So maybe some of you saw this immediately. This would be the answer here. Minus 3 plus minus 10 add up to minus 13. And of course, they are the factors of 30. Minus 3 times minus 10 is 30. And because a is 1 here, we can go directly to the answer, which will then be x minus 3, x minus 10. So you can check it. This gives us x squared minus 10x minus 3x plus 30. Okay, so let's look at this one. Here we have a is equal to 4, b is equal to 11, and c is equal to 6. AC is equal to 4 times 6, 24. So we need the factors of 24 that add up to 11. So let's run them down. Of course, 1 and 24 won't work. 2 and 12 won't work. That'll give us 14. How about 3 and 8? Yes, these will add up to 11. So what we need to do is break up this 11x into 3x and 8x. So we rewrite this expression as 4x squared plus 3x plus 8x plus 6. And then factor by grouping. This gives us x times 4x plus 3. And here we take out common factor 2. And that gives us also x plus 4x plus 3. And then common factor 4x plus 3 times x plus 2. So this should be fairly straightforward. And so now we look at this last one here. In this case now a is 6, b is 5, and c is minus 6. And so we want the factors of minus 36. So let's start with negative 1 and 36. Well, that won't add up to 5. Minus 2 and 18. Again, if you can see this quickly, no problem. You know, that's actually very good. And then we can try minus 3 and 12. That doesn't add up to 5. And how about minus 4 and 9? Yes, this adds up to 5. And of course, multiplies up to a minus 36. So I didn't write that here, but AC is equal to minus 36. So now we rewrite this expression as 6x squared. And remember, these are the factors we're using. So that's minus 4x plus 9x. Notice we're simply transforming this expression without changing it. It's still the same expression. Minus 4x plus 9x is 5x. And now we factor by grouping. We take out common factor for these two, 2x. That leaves us 3x minus 2. And over here, we have 9x minus 6. So that comes out as, well, we take out the 3. And then 3 times 3x minus 2. And then we have common factor 3x minus 2, 2x plus 3. And that's it. So I hope you understand how we factorize these quadratic expressions. This video is the last in the series of videos that we will dedicate to factorization. So I hope you were able to learn something from them. Thank you very much for watching.